Okay, hi everyone. It is awesome to see you, and the surgery is done, which is kind of amazing. So I'm hoping that you guys get some value out of this video. Please, if you at any point want to ask any questions, we really just want this to be value for you guys, because I know that there's a huge amount of people that are in the same situation as me and are going to have to go through this experience. So definitely reach out, send us a DM, put a comment below, and we'll try and respond as much as we can to you and get you as much information as possible. But the surgery went really well. I don't think I could have literally asked for anything better, which is kind of crazy. But I'll run you through the kind of situation. Obviously, I let you guys know I had a brain tumor about the size of a baseball in my head that they found. But I'll take you through the day of the surgery. So what basically happened is we set up the surgery for December 4th. We went and saw this doctor there called Dr. Zada, incredible guy. I have to say, like, it is amazing. I think there's a lot of ego in neurosurgery, obviously, because you're kind of playing God with people's lives. And so I think that definitely comes out in a huge amount of the neurosurgeons. But this guy, Dr. Zada, I was obsessed with, because it's literally, he walks in the room, he's got a massive smile on his face, so positive constantly. And so it is hard to get kind of depressed or like down about the situation when you've actually got someone who's almost like guiding you through it in such an awesome way. So we set that up for December 4th. It was going to be a 7 to 12 hour operation. I mean 6 to 12 hour operation. It actually only lasted 7 hours, but that does mean that you basically have to get up, because we live in Venice and USC Keck's about an hour away. So I had to get up at 4 a.m, which is a bit of a weird one when you're waking up to an alarm in the morning and you're going for brain surgery. It's a bit of an odd feeling.
Bye, George. You gonna miss me? Nah, he's good. It's raining outside this morning. 4 a.m. Here goes the car.
And so you've got just so many emotions in these rooms where you're like checking in and they're giving you bands and everything like that. And so it was quite easy, actually. Really awesome staff there. Went and kind of was waiting in one of the waiting rooms. Then what they actually do is they gave me a dye. So it's like this thing you drink, tastes horrible. But apparently what it does is basically dyes the tumor pink. And so it was right here behind my left eye. And so it was a bit of a crazy one where you're drinking this thing and then they're like, oh, also this dye does affect your skin and sensitivity to light. So instead of you think, oh right, I'm not wearing sun cream, I'm going to get sunburn, this is like you get burnt by lights. So as soon as you take the dye, they're like throwing a sheet over you. So yeah, so this dye basically dyes the tumor pink. So obviously when they're in your head, they can tell the difference between brain tissue and the actual tumor. And it was actually really strange, because when you're coming out of the hospital, it lasts for 48 hours, the dye. So when you're coming out of the theatre, and you're going up to the intensive care unit, you're literally sitting there and they have all the lights off and your friends are coming in, your family and the supporters, and it's awesome to see them, but they're making sure no one turns on lights. But yeah, literally woke up from the operation, sat up in a chair. I was actually speaking as I am now.
Hopefully I remember this, but I was looking good and the surgeon just came in and said he got 100% of it and it just folded out, which is awesome. Super excited.
And then literally, I think it was the next morning, I was kind of waking up at 4 a.m. because obviously you've been asleep for 7.5 hours through the day, so your brain's a bit like, where am I, what am I doing? Literally they had an IV artery line here, so it's literally going into your artery instead of your vein, so it's pretty like, if you pull that out, it's going to start spraying everywhere. But they have like a sensor in it, which is crazy, which measures your heartbeat and your blood pressure. And so literally it's kind of like they just have that attached to you. I had another 2 IVs here where they were pumping the drugs in. Catheter, oh my God. It's not exactly the most pleasant thing. And actually I was fine with it because if you're in a situation where you've got a lot of pain meds in you, you're not thinking about it that much, you've obviously got a big scar on your head, so that's kind of taking the attention away from that. But when they remove it, it's a weird feeling. literally the next day after the surgery, they were also taking me for walks around the ward. They do a lot of these tests where they're like pushing down on your hands and having you close your eyes and hold your hands straight, because they want to know if the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, apparently. So they would kind of test if my right hand was drooping at all. And so that's just got better and better over the last 5 days. I had basically 2 days after the surgery where I'd wake up in the morning and I wouldn't really be able to speak. So I was kind of trying to spell in the air, and that's fine. But obviously you haven't had any adjustment period. It's not like someone who's gone blind or deaf or anything like that, and you've had a few years to like work out how you communicate with sign language, and so you're basically just trying to like get a message across to someone. So I'm like talking to my sister because she's engaged now, and I'm like, where are you going on your honeymoon? And I can't say it, so I'm like, fly around the world after your wedding or whatever. Like, it was just like, I'm trying to like think, and obviously your brain's probably not moving at the same pace that it's used to, so you're just constantly trying to get a message out there, which is just really, really difficult.
The word I'm trying to say, it's just making okay. And are there times when you...
And so they kept me in the hospital for 4 days, which was actually kind of good, because obviously you've got the nurses there, you've got, you know, if you're in pain, and I think those first couple of nights, it is pretty crazy how much pain, not crazy how much pain you're in, but you definitely are getting a throbbing in your head. It's like a massive headache on the left side of your head. And obviously because they've taken that out, that hole's filling with CSF, cerebral spinal fluid, as well as blood. And so it's a really odd feeling, because obviously you're lying on the right side of your head, and all I had was this kind of clicking noise, and then this kind of like draining. Imagine if there's like waterfall like running over your brain kind of thing. So you can like hear it inside your head. And so I was turning around to the doctor, I'm like, just so you're aware, like I'm hearing this like trickling noise, like whenever I lie on my right side. And he was like, that's absolutely normal, don't worry about that at all. They did another MRI and a CT scan just to like kind of double check that, you know, it wasn't kind of re-bleeding or anything like that, or I needed to go back into surgery. That looked all good, which was absolutely awesome. The trickling's now stopped. It has stopped the last 2 nights. So I'm hoping that a huge amount of that fluid's now like drained out of my head, because it's not that swollen anymore as well. I had a really kind of swollen left eye, and what's crazy is actually, because you obviously are lying on your right side, not your left, you get the gravity effect where you've just got a ton of fluid in your head. And so this eye actually went black or yellow, and was insanely swollen for another 2 days after that, because all of the fluids obviously just like running to this side of your head. So my family were coming in, they're just like, I thought you had the surgery on the other side of your head. Like, why is your right eye getting all swollen? And that's just apparently due to the amount of fluid that's kind of just trying to, you know, get into your tissues and get back into your body. But I'll show you guys the scar if you like. Warning, obviously it is pretty big, so don't get too scared. I have to wear like gauze underneath this hat to kind of keep it good. But as you can probably see, it basically starts kind of at the start. I think actually Dr. Zada amazingly got it behind my hairline, so hopefully my wife doesn't have to see it every day for the rest of our lives. But it is kind of, they did a really good job. If you look at me like front on, it actually literally matches my head, which I think is like pretty awesome, because I think there's some people, when you see they have like a straight scar or whatever, or they've had an accident, obviously the hair follicles start growing out at weird angles and stuff. So I don't know, my wife's now turned around and said that she quite likes the shaved head, which obviously makes it a lot easier for the surgeon. So we'll see if that stays a bit short for a while, or actually I need to kind of like do the comb over again and get that covered. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this. Hopefully this has brought you some value. All we want to do is help, because I feel like if I'm going to go through this experience and we've got the platform that we can put this out on, then we should try and give as much value to everyone out there as possible. So if there's any specific questions you have, you're in a similar situation, you want to ask me any specific questions about anything, reach out, write a comment, send us a message, and we're happy just to reply as much as possible. And if you'd like a video specifically on any of the symptoms, any of the actual operation itself, anything like that, let us know and we'll try and get that made for you. Because I think we just want to help the community, and I know there's going to be a lot of other people probably in a similar situation going through this in the next few years. So whatever you guys want, let us know and we'll try and get it done.